This was the scene for 3 days on a 10-day Carnival Legend cruise in the South Pacific. Friday, the ship turned into a floating fight club, forcing some of the 2,100 passengers to lock themselves in their cabins.
Broke out among Carnival cruise ship passengers in Texas, resulting in more than a dozen people being banned from the liner for life. The violence erupted as passengers were disembarking from the Carnival Jubilee when it docked in Galveston on Saturday.
This woman police officer slid her over in her seat, got her down on the ground, lifted her up by underneath her arms. This other policeman came and they carried her off of the boat.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into...
This is Drew, and I'd like to welcome you back to another episode, Real Talk Today. Today I want to talk about the curse of the Carnival crew. What the hell is going on with us once we get on a cruise ship? Let's talk about it.
This was the scene for 3 days on a 10-day Carnival Legend cruise in the South Pacific. Friday, the ship turned into a floating fight club, forcing some of the 2,100 passengers to lock themselves in their cabins.
Horrifying, like people screaming, running around, throwing glasses, everything, like nightmare.
Blood everywhere, people's faces getting smashed in.
Yeah, they were full-on attacks.
The attacks blamed on a group of 23 people traveling together, origins unknown.
They were just roaming the decks, just looking to pick on like any Aussie they could find.
Others blame the ship's security guards for escalating the chaos.
They put handcuffs around their hands, used them as knuckle busters, and punching women, 16-year-old kids, everything.
They were on the ground in handcuffs, begging for them to stop, and then the security just kept punching them.
During an unscheduled stop in Australia, police removed the group and then continued the scheduled trip.
I mean, tell me what's going on. Like, as soon as we get off of dry ground and get on some water, why is it we got to start acting a fool? Why can't we just go in, go on a cruise, have a little fun, sit down and rest? You know, obviously we don't have any internet hardly, you know, when you're on it. I don't know if you ever been on a cruise, but the internet sucks. It's like as soon as we get on there, you know, everything starts getting on our nerve. Next thing you know, we're swinging and carrying on. And this is getting ridiculous. Oh, my God.
Carnival Cruise Line has fined and banned passengers for life for their involvement in a fight that broke out on the Carnival Paradise out of Tampa, Florida in the buffet area that led to broken dishes and overturned tables and chairs.
There's another fight that broke out in there. Let's just check it out and see what's what.
Carnival said in a statement, per their policy, they wouldn't tolerate such behavior.
Now with a cruise ship horror story, tonight the onboard brawls and the one big family said to be at the center of it all. Here's ABC's Marcus Moore.
An idyllic cruise descending into chaos with a series of brutal brawls on board. It happened on the Carnival Legend as stunned vacationers, even some kids, watched in horror.
I was quite scared at the time, feeling quite threatened. Right there and then in the pool, they just started choking him on the floor, and there's videos of it.
Watch this. A fight that seems to start with just a couple of people explodes, and guards can be seen kicking passengers.
Now, the other videos we just got through looking at is going to lead us up to this latest one just happened a few days ago. Basically seemed like a lady got on the cruise. She didn't have whatever proper documents or wristband, whatever that the cruise line, you know, issues to let everybody know that you paid for your trip. She didn't have it, and she didn't want to get off the boat. So let's go ahead and look at how that got handled.
There are facts that are without question. The earth is round. The sun rises in the east. And this woman is determined. For almost an hour, the ferry operator asked her to get off the boat, but she would not move.
We have to go!
All here bought a ticket for an excursion to a private Bahamian island on the Carnival Cruise Line's app, and were later given tickets on the ship. On the day of the excursion, Carnival agents were supposed to take our tickets, ask us to sign a waiver and give each of us a wristband before boarding the ferry.
Everybody got wristbands. Don't want no wristband.
That's right. This woman had no wristband, and the third-party ferry operator said, no wristband, no go. But the woman insisted she had indeed paid. After more than 30 minutes, the other passengers, all hot and hungry, began to turn on her.
Man, come on, man. Get on, man.
He said, you got to get on up out of here.
Finally, an officer tried to convince her to get off the boat and seek reimbursement from Carnival. She refused. Another officer was called, and she clearly meant business. But the passenger insisted Carnival had proof of payment. She's now threatening a lawsuit against the cruise line. Leslie Silva is a principal at McCall, Sweeney, and Silva.
This woman's a principal at some type of school, and she's out there acting a fool like this out in public. Oh, my God.
Buy the ticket, and you have entered into a contractual agreement with the cruise line. Mm-hmm. Are you, in most cases, signing away your right to a jury trial?
You are. Unless it's in an extreme case of a bodily injury, then you are bound to go to arbitration with them.
Basically, what it seems that they're talking about is Carnival Cruise has rules and regulations on procedures before you can board the actual ship or whatnot. And this woman couldn't produce whatever they were looking for. So it seemed like she started snuck on there and didn't pay. Now, this next piece of footage, I don't know if this was some type of customers or some shipmates' outlook on the situation, but let's see if we can catch it from another angle. Let me go ahead and take a look at it and see what's what.
So many of you may be looking at this picture and wondering, oh my goodness, what happened to that beautiful lady? Did she get sick on this boat? Did she pass out? Is she having a medical issue? Did she get heat stroke? No. This woman refused to get off of this boat and caused people to get sick, have to sit in the heat for long periods of time, while she sat there like a 5-year-old with her arms folded, refusing to get off of this boat.
I'm not getting up.
As you can see, the police had to come and physically remove her from her seat. Now, she and her mom and her son, who is about 8 or 10 years old, are passengers on the Carnival Glory. This is them getting ready to go on an excursion. Now, if you've cruised before, you know when you go on an excursion, you have to get wristbands. Her mom, and her son did not have wristbands, and they were asked to get off of the boat. She refused. She even made herself heavy, stiff, and made it hard for them to remove her. So this woman police officer slid her over in her seat, got her down on the ground, lifted her up by
I don't know what could be more embarrassing.
Underneath her arms. This other policeman came and they carried her off of the boat because she refused to move.
Can you imagine the embarrassment of having to physically get picked up like a child? Because as a grown person, you don't have the fortitude to understand, hey, maybe I need to handle this in a different way, and have your body picked up off the seat and toted out like a rag doll. I don't think it get more embarrassing than this. Let's go, though.
Meanwhile, her child is off of the boat on the side watching all of this, completely embarrassed, and he is in tears. This is her son standing with someone that works at the dock while they are trying to get her up off of the boat. You can see that he's clearly saddened. I know he's embarrassed. And
had this woman actually bought a ticket, signed the waiver, and not been given a wristband? I asked Carnival those very questions, and a spokesman replied, "It is important to recognize there is more than meets the eye to every story, but given the threat of legal action, we will defer further comment." As for that passenger, she still refused to leave even after the female officer dragged her off the bench.
You want to be like a child and sit on the floor?
No, I want to be like an adult who paid my money.
Finally, after almost an hour, the officers actually picked her up and carried her off the boat.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
Now, you see what happened? People just basically turned against her, now they're cheering, get her up out of here. Because now you're disturbing, the the trip that I done paid to bring my family on. Now I can't even have no fun because y'all dealing with this. But this has got to be the most embarrassing situation of any grown person's life.
A combative conclusion that certainly was no carnival for any of the parties involved.
Now, before we wrap it up, this seemed to be from another angle. On this angle, if you look up top, you can see they got a teddy bear in front of the child. And I guess that's the grandmother that's standing beside her. And all they looking like is, please just come on. Let's get up out of here. This ain't working. She is just stubborn. You heard what he said? Get a female officer in here. I think what happened, like I said, I don't know if she paid or didn't pay, but I think she basically was under the impression that you're not going to touch me. You're a bunch of men. If you touch me, I'm going to sue. So the guy, he handled it right. Go and get one of them females in there, one of them big backs. They'll get her up out of there.
Niggas is wildin'!
I ain't married.
Oh, man. You need some water? It's cool.
Look at this shit. I had to show this again. Now, I'm going to let you all be the judge of whether you think this woman actually paid or she snuck on the ship and thought that she was going to be able to get away with it. For me, I don't think she paid because she could have pulled her phone up, showed proof of payment, and took care of all of this. But the way she's flopping down like she's a great big child or whatnot, you know, I think she thought she was going to get away with it, and she didn't think that no one would be able to pick her up and get her off of there. That's what I think went on. But they clearly said, hey, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. You know, you ain't got to go home, but you got to get on up out of here. That's what I'm seeing. Now, I want to put this on the channel because I'm like, come on now. We have got to start acting better. The image that we're putting out here in public is what's basically making us look bad. And it's going to be one of the main things that holds us back in the future as a people. Because, you know, I'm not saying that people of other races don't do this kind of stuff too, but it seems like the ones that get the most publicity or whatnot is us. And this has got to stop. And this woman doesn't realize this particular image right here will haunt her for life. Because as we all know, the internet doesn't go anywhere. But with that, let's get this thing wrapped up. And I'll see you at the next one.
I got nightmares in my head, I fear that the thoughts build up until I can't hear, that my mind fills up into a creature, and it haunts me somewhere much deeper.
Anxiety, filling up every space, no privacy.